So that opportunity came along and I went, oh, that is a great opportunity. It feels really aligned and feels like something I'd really like to do. Bring writers to Ireland, to Castle, to have a retreat. That feels good. There's something in that. So then I thought to it, is this aligned with what I want to achieve? The answer was yes. So I took action straight away. Now, a lot of people can often have fear around that taking action straight away apart. And I find that, some businesses, because usually there's a financial investment required or something. But one of the things that I have, and maybe I know that other people do it as well, because I see people who have really grown their business. But when you say yes to something and trust that you have what it takes to generate that cash flow to make that happen, it happens. So the belief in yourself and also in the ability to pull this off and make it happen. It's amazing what happens. And that's a bit of the magic of scaling your business. And it's not so much a risk because you're passionate. So where there is a will, there's always a way. So you will find the way. And so it's not a risky thing that, you're going to go down this one. Once you sit with it and grow through it and evolve through it, because you're going to have challenges, because challenges are part of growth. I have challenges all the time. I don't see challenges as blocks. I see challenges as opportunities to grow up to the person I need to be to receive those huge goals that I set for myself and for my business. Okay. So making more money to manage your growth. And that is opening up your mind, not having limiting beliefs around money. So to grow through that and to evolve with that and knowing your value, for a long time, I was not honoring my value, and I was publishing lots of books at a low cost and not making that much money. And I was running myself, really thin. Whereas when I seen my value, upgraded my mindset, upgraded my prices, I was actually attracting higher, high vibrational clients and able to serve them better because I could allocate more time for them. I could show up and I could actually, give the best of me because I'm doing less and being more. And I'll talk about that in a little bit as well. It's one of the books I read, and it helped me around that. So be realistic with yourself and how big do you want to grow? Is it that you want multi-million, billion-dollar corporation and be global? Just know what it takes to build that, because that's huge. Or do you want to grow your business and have a lifestyle business where you grow alongside your family, where you're there? Is that where your values are? And I know for a lot of mompreneurs that is, and that's where my values are. So yes, I work hard. I work efficiently because I know what I'm doing and I've grown and I learn everything that I need. But I've also built a team around me. Whereas 10 years ago or 8 years ago, I was doing everything, even the things that I didn't enjoy. Whereas now I'm able to stay in my genius zone, make things happen. And my team, who are all skilled in their areas, do their magic as well. So be realistic with yourself. How big do you want to grow? What is that for you? What's that ideal scenario? Really visualize it and say it. And leveraging your growth to raise your profile and your wealth. For me, I'm quite visible. People say to me, "Oh my goodness, Karen, you're everywhere. You've got this omnipresence." And it's not really intentional. It's just that I show up and do things for lots of people, and I really enjoy it. And I really enjoy being visible. But I'm going to share with you a little story about when I was at school. I would never have been the person to put my hand up and read in class. I was so shy. I would never go on a stage or do a play or anything like that. Never, ever, ever. But one of the things I learned as I got into business, and even especially when I went to the Ausmumpreneur conference, was if my mission of sharing stories with the world was going to happen or have any chance of happening, I needed to show up. I needed to put myself and my ego aside and that timid, scared little person who who would never go on stage. And I needed to put her to the side and say, I understand how you're nervous, but hey, I have something bigger to make happen here, and I'm going to fuel it. So I put that to the side. I honored it, but I showed up for my mission, which is to have stories be told, have people connect. And once I did that, there was no stopping me. I was speaking all over the place, and that is a big thing for authors because when you're putting a book out there, when you're putting your story out there, when you're putting a bit of yourself out there through a book, that is quite exposing. And I done a TED talk recently, and I spoke about how it's likened to running around the streets naked in winter. You know, it can be that uncomfortable. But the rewards of running around naked in the streets is not that beneficial. Whereas when you show up and share your story and you see how that connects with the heart of someone else, oh my goodness, that is, you know, and that scales you as well. That's all, you know, showing up and being genuine, that helps scale your business. So scaling your growth, it's personal, not universal. So we start with ourselves first, and then it goes. You know, it's, you know, you start with the core, take care of that seed, which is you, and then it grows from there. Okay. So use your intuition, and use it to build genuine connections with high-level people in your arena. And the genuine connections, we all do it in here. I feel it. You know, I feel whenever I connect with someone in the Ausmumpreneur network, because the vibration that's put out from here just attracts the most beautiful people into the arena. So you just know that you're going to connect with someone who's genuine, and that is so comforting to know. So you use your own guidance and build, you know, give some of yourself to others in those arenas, and it really does pay off and helps you scale and grow. Know that growth is a personal endeavor, but aligned connections are a super fuel. So, you know, that's the thing. We can have our own ambitions, have our goals, set our huge, big, fat, audacious goals and intentions. But whenever we connect with others, and we connect with others and have them move forward, that's the superpower. That's the super fuel that gets you forward even faster. And I want to just mention a little bit about, I talk about goals and intentions as separate because they aren't separate. When you set a goal, when you set a business goal, you will quite often have a plan how you're going to achieve that. And, you know, in your business plan and all of those kinds of things are goals. But when you set an intention is different. It is where you set an intention and you surrender to how that's going to happen. You just say, okay, I'm going to keep my peripheral vision on here and just allow myself to identify the opportunities that are aligned with that intention and have the courage to say yes to them straight away. Because if I don't, somebody else will. And that's how I've scaled in a very short space of time. Like I thought it would take me 25 years to build my press up into what I wanted it to be. And I've done it in 7 or 8, you know, maybe the first year was just dabbling, getting to learn a few things. So with that intention, I really scaled through that. But I did also have goals as well that were planned and strategic. But my intentions were open, and that's where the magic happens. They're the big things, okay? So be mindful of how far you want to grow. Are you in it to see how far you can make it, or in it to have the life-work balance? I did mention that before, but I mention it again because it's so important to understand what that is for you, because you can go too far and compromise too much of yourself and lose the connection to the essence of why you started and what you really wanted to achieve. So just ask yourself that question. You know, is it, you know, for me, I always want to be the person that connects with authors and helps them on their journey. I love to do it. My studies are in humanities, not in publishing. So I love all of that part, and because an author goes on a journey when they're publishing a book. It's not just about having a book in your hand. And yes, it's an amazing business tool for growth, but every author goes on a journey, no matter how many books they have under their belt. Okay. So see opportunities that may not have been there before. It's just as you grow and as you evolve, your mindset has to grow alongside that, because you're not going to be the same person as you were whenever you started out in your business. We learn a lot, we grow a lot, and evolve through challenges. But being able to have that, I call it a peripheral vision, where you see the opportunities that are coming from the side that you may not have seen coming or may not have planned for, but to be able to identify them and say yes to them if they're aligned with where you want to go. And set money goals. I talk about, yes, in business we have to invest a lot to grow, and I have done myself, but set money goals for yourself. And because when you have clear money goals, um, I work with, I talk about the universe and things, but it helps you keep focused on that as well, so you can then identify what is aligned with that as well. And it's actually fun. And I often talk about there's too many good people in the world not reaching their money goals or not setting money goals, because when good people have money, good things happen. So that's why it's important that we open ourselves to huge buckets full of abundance, because we may as well have it and do goodness with it than others have it and not keep it in their pockets. So leveraging high level clients, do what it takes to make it happen. So I have a lot of high level authors on my books, and it's amazing, how you attract them. You put yourself out there at a high vibration, you build your brand, and you do good by others, and your name gets out there a bit. And so high level clients often go on recommendations. So it's being visible in those arenas, and not being nervous and just showing up and being courageous and being authentic, and that shines through. And you are enough. You don't have to be something different. I have never showed up and not being myself. Honestly, I really have not. What you see here talking to you right now is what will be in a room with $1 million, business owners. Well, I suppose I'm there myself now, but you know what I mean? These big, like if I was in a room with Richard Branson, that's what you would get the same person talking to you. So up level your mindset to see yourself as upgraded in your arena, and no ego, only pride. And that's the thing, we talk about ego a lot, but we have every right to be proud of our achievements, and we have every right to share them from the rooftops. And if anybody knows me and watches me on Facebook or what, I will always share my wins. I'll always share my achievements, and I don't share them to blow my trumpet or have any ego attached to it. I share because they are wins, but they also inspire others to see the possibilities that are there and to open their mind. Just like I was gifted the time I went to the 2015 Ausmumpreneur conference, I was gifted with possibilities, with sharing my journey and sharing it with others to see maybe the potential within themselves. So I always encourage people to share your wins. It's really not, to detach the ego from it and share them, because when that connects with someone, and that's part of your story, and that initiates a reaction, which is beautiful to see other people shine through. And when people connect with you and say, wow, it's a beautiful thing. So gracefully let people know that you're working with a high level client. So if in publishing, it's quite easy because we announce our new authors and things like that, so we're able to do it that way. But it raises your profile when you are working with higher level clients, and they're usually quite happy to say that they're on your books. So more people will want to work with you, but be selective, and that's the thing. I have high level clients, but I also have new authors, and and I won't ever not do that. That's why I created my publishing academy, was so that I could be present and share my journey and share what I know about the industry in there with others, because I don't keep secrets. I like to share, because if me, a mom of 6 children, can have the seedling of an idea, invest $50 a week and grow it into $1 million business, anyone can. If they want to, they have to want it enough. It's hard work. I've worked hard, but all of my hard work didn't feel like a chore because I was pursuing my passion. So, there's no way you can't do it if you want to. I come from a no excuses. If you want it enough, you'll get it, And I set huge intentions, personal goals, personal intentions as well, because I'm an author. So I have my own authorship goals. And I set an intention that I wanted Elizabeth Gilbert to write in my book, The Power of Knowing. And she's in there because I set the intention and she said yes. So, and I made it easy for her to say yes as well. So now she's on my book, in my book, not just on my book as in MMH Press, she's also in my book. So it's a beautiful thing. So, yeah. So, upgrade your prices as well. So with scaling in your mind and scaling your business, you need to reassess your pricing structure, because if you want to evolve and scale, that has to grow alongside you, because as you grow and scale, you will have higher, like I now have an office that I'm paying for. I have staff on my books that I have to. So all of those things, but it means that you're able to offer a higher level service. So that grows, and so your revenue has to grow alongside that, okay? And upgrade your profile if needed, if you're happy with that. Some people put the focus on their brand, but I just like to be the people there. So strategically show evidence of your growth and success, and that's what I'm talking about. Is I use Facebook a lot, LinkedIn, yes, sometimes. Facebook is where I actually have genuine connections with people. And I love meeting people when I go to Melbourne or go to Ireland, and that I've actually built a relationship with, or online, genuine relationship with. So that's always a beautiful thing to make happen and to watch happen. So there we are. I'm just talking again about upgrading your price point. So that's all about scaling. And I did that. As I said, I was working, trying to have everybody, so many people come my way. And then I read Do Less, Be More by Susan Pearce. And she's a Hay House author, and I adore her. And so I read that, Do Less, Be More, and it inspired me to start my academy, because I was telling people the same things over and over again. And yes, I wrote the book with all of the information in it, but people wanted connection with me. So I created a bit of an inner circle that was affordable, where I could show up and give lots of information, do lots of videos, have like a members hub where people can get all of the information in there. I don't have to keep, and then I share opportunities in there that everybody can avail of. And it ended up being something really magnificent that has me free up time, because when you are scaling, you need to free up time and declutter, because if you're so jam-packed and you're not decluttering the things that don't serve you anymore as you grow, it means that you come too tight, and that's where overwhelm, and that's where lots of, all the horrid, breakdowns and things like that come from, when you're just so jam-packed. When you declutter and you create a bit of space, then the magic can shine through, and you can grow and you can scale, and you have time, you've got some space around you to do it. Now that is a beautiful thing. So I do that regularly, usually every 6 months. I stop and I think, okay, I'm starting to feel a bit heavy here. Do I need to bring on a new staff member, or do I need to declutter what doesn't serve me anymore? And it's not abandoning anybody, because I'm always on a journey with my authors, but it's empowering people. And I do that through my academies, empowering people and sharing my skills. And that's what works for me. So, if you're feeling a bit tight, just think, what is it? How could you create a bit of space to let the magic shine through? Because it just fuels your fire again, gives you your zest back, and it's really exciting. Because growth is serious business. But when you're having fun and enjoying the journey, it helps you scale better. Okay. You may need to invest in your growth or fulfill promises to A-list clients. For example, when I signed the Duchess of York, she's one of my authors. So that's with my traditional press, which is Serenity Press. So we finance all of that. We're going bigger scale, because we're doing print runs overseas. We're bringing in higher, our illustrators cost, are really expensive for these books and all of these things. We really need to grow our distribution as well, and build these partnerships, which is wonderful. It's all scaling and growing, but it took investment to make that happen. So how do you do that? And I've always come, and yes, we could go and get a business loan, but I like to create revenue from the work I've done. So I realized that I can create, I can be asset heavy at times. So then I release shareholders and also bring in also shareholders. It actually creates revenue for me to scale to the next. So I've kind of like worked it and earned it. And that's one of my little secrets to success as well. So I've grown all of my businesses and I've never been in debt. And I'm really proud of that. So I've grown my businesses with the revenue that I have brought in myself. I grow it more. If I need to bring in more revenue, I'll bring in more, So that's one of the things that I'm really proud of in my business. And it's just because that doesn't serve me. It makes me feel heavy. And so for me personally, so and I like to keep in high vibration. So that's what works for me. So, and I'm very innovative and creative in the opportunities I can create. So, I'm bringing new authors and things like that are really aligned, which is always very exciting. So be confident in what you have to offer. That was one thing I had to work on, was being confident in how I serve others. And I love to serve people. I just love helping people make their intentions happen through their publishing journeys, because it's not all about publishing a book. So much other things happen outside of the book as well. So so be confident in what you have to offer, and then that confidence will shine through, and people will then feel safe in buying from you because you're confident in what you have to offer. That was another thing that I had to learn, and that comes through valuing yourself and knowing that you are enough, and knowing that what you're offering is enough. So know that quite often those who pay more for services are easier to work with. And isn't that bizarre? You think about it, but it's actually very true. And if someone's paying more for something in my arena, I can give them more time. I can allocate more to them, so then they get a higher experience. And because book publishing is an experience, they get more success as well, through their book. So it's wonderful. And then the mindset upgrade, keep checking in with yourself. If you're growing faster than last year, check in with yourself more often this year, and I've had to do that. It's just when do you need to check in with yourself to upgrade and catch up with how you're growing on the outside in your business, to catch up with that. Let's see where we are. Okay, so this is the conclusion. So decide where you are ready to go to that level to secure a high-end client. So I'm talking about high-end clients again. So assess your business and profile and see if the time and energy will be beneficial in the long run. So just, being mindful of that. Be prepared to do the self-development required so that you benefit to your highest potential. Position yourself in aligned arenas, and that's again about connection. Show up and be visible with the people that that will help you grow, and show up and be there where you want to be. Even if you're not there in your mind, show up there now and start being visible there, and your mindset will catch up. I promise. Ask and you may receive. Like, so many of us think we can't ask for a connection, or can't ask for, if you don't ask, you don't get. If I didn't ask Elizabeth Gilbert to be in my book, she wouldn't be in my book. If I did not ask the Sarah Duchess of York's agent, would she like to be an author with Serenity Press, that would never have happened. If you don't ask, you don't receive. So be daring, think big, and just, plant the seed. Let it, see if it comes to fruition, but move on and keep yourself busy with other things in your business when those things are coming together. And connect with your intuition and knowing to pull it off. Take inspired action when required. Follow your knowing. And that's it again. You feel it, you think it, you action it. Those three things. Feel it, think it, action it. And that's, I think that's everything there. Does anybody have any questions?
That was amazing, Karen. So much in there. And when you said you were going to talk about scaling, I thought you were giving a completely different presentation. This is just so beautiful. I love that you've talked about the personal development that's actually involved in scaling your business, because that's huge. You know, at the Women's Business School, we talk about business development and personal development, and how when you combine those two, that's where you see the real change happening. But you are living, breathing proof of that work that you've put in your personal development, and tapping into your intuition and aligning yourself with people who have the values that you want to see, and the difference that's made. It's incredible.
Yeah, it is a different presentation than I had planned. I was going to go on my chapter, so my chapter is different, so you're going to have to read that. So, but it just, that's what came out, so that's what I honor and that's what I share. But it's fun, you know, Peace, isn't it?
I loved it.
Yeah, when you connect with the essence of who you are, and then you go on the journey of self-development and scale and grow alongside your business, it's so much more fun, you know, and the results speak for themselves.
Yeah, and connecting with the energy, I think, is just, it's powerful. You can feel it. If an idea is right, if a person is right, the connection is there, and that energy.
Absolutely. And timing, that's another thing. You know, I learned, I used to be a person that wanted everything now. I want it now, you know, but if the time, you know, you can have it now, but you won't have it at the best, you know, that it can be, if you don't allow the timing to align. And really, you know, because whenever that you allow, you know, you plant the seed in nourished soil, you let it grow, and when it's ready to pop its head out, that's wonderful. You just, you know, you nurture it. And then when the time's right and that's ready, and you show up and you nurture it to fruition, like that is when something happens that's the biggest it can possibly happen. It's really, yeah. And I've learned that. That was one of my biggest things, because I was always so impatient.
I think we all are as entrepreneurs. You know, one of my favorite quotes is, "It's not a race," because we want everything now. It's like, now, why isn't this happening quick enough? But actually, you have to trust in the timing. Just because you want something to happen now doesn't mean it's the right time for it to happen now. It doesn't mean that you're actually ready for that to happen. And you have to trust in the process and trust that journey. And also, I think, accepting that it's okay. It's okay if you haven't got there yet. You shouldn't feel disappointed, because you still will get there. But yeah, understanding that it's not a race, and we don't have to all be doing things at the same level. And even when someone looks more successful over here than what you feel over here, that's not actually true.
Absolutely. You know, I also have this visual of my journey, and you know what it is, that it's a journey, and my businesses have been a journey, and I embrace it totally. But if I had been so focused on the goal and the end result, and not embraced the journey and enjoyed the journey, I would have got off the road a long time ago and just stayed in that destination. Whereas I have bypassed every single goal I had set. You know, I'm surpassed all of them, you know, because I enjoy the journey so much. I keep going on it, you know, I keep, upgrade, once you get there, I just keep going, because it's just so fun, you know, and when you enjoy the journey that you're on, um, it's just amazing. Bring other people along for the ride as well, you know. Why not?
I love that so much. I think that a big thing that I've learned through my years in business is you have to surrender and let go of trying to control the outcome. So it's been a really interesting discovery, because yes, you have to set big goals and have a big vision for where you want to get to, but then you also have to let go of trying to control how that happens, because business isn't a straight line, and that's not how you get to goals. It's not just, okay, do this, do this, do this, do this. There's all kinds of things that can happen along the way. And I think letting go of trying to control the outcome is a really important thing that we have to learn as entrepreneurs.
Absolutely. And you know what it is? Quite often when we start out in a journey, we don't know the possibilities, but they start to, there's other things, there's bigger things out there for us. And if we're so focused on the original, usually it's a journey to even bigger things quite often. So if you keep your mind open to possibilities that are aligned with where you want to go and even bigger, like it's amazing where you do end up. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And as some of the authors were saying this morning, adversity, it can seem at the time like such a tragedy or a terrible thing happening and like the end of everything. But then often in hindsight, the learning and the growth and the lessons from overcoming that challenge actually have taken you in a much better direction than that course that you may have been on before.
Isn't hindsight a wonderful thing? If we all had that crystal ball, life would be so much easier. But then we'd probably bypass a few of the really important lessons that are there for us in life. And then the story of our life that we were right at the end won't be as interesting because we won't have evolved through those things that do challenge us, that do help us to grow. So, and as I said, that's my mindset around, I don't go out looking for challenges, not at all. But when they come, I know that why they've come is to help me grow and learn what I need to align with where I want to go.
Mm. And challenges can be hard, but do you think that they are easier as you become more experienced? Is it sometimes like, well, that's okay, we've been through something like this before, we'll get through this? Do you think that's what happens as you become more experienced with business?
Yes, well, I have to admit for a few years that we were growing really fast, and especially last year. And this year we've grown really fast. But I think whenever you stop and you work through a challenge, you don't have to repeat that same challenge again because you grow through it. If you kind of ignore it and try to bypass it, it's going to keep coming back around until you stop and do the learning that's needed to grow through that. And so I always take that time to stop and say, okay, there's something I have to address here, and then just go through it. And even on the days when I have the biggest to-do list, but if I'm, feeling that heaviness, I will just stop and go to the beach and come back and get your head around it. Sometimes just the clarity of, like, I used to work in mental health for 4 years before I moved to Australia, and just going for a walk can clear your brain, and just give you the clarity you need to find the solution to a problem. So, don't just sit there in it feeling as if you're about to sink into it. I always say, stop, detach your mind from it, walk away, and then it's amazing what will come to you that will help you find a solution and to grow through it. Yeah. That's how I roll anyway. He's frozen.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. You're back. You're back.
Just playing up so much today. So sorry. But yeah, absolutely. When we face challenges and go through them, there's so much growth through that. And you were talking about taking time out, going to the beach. I think that's such an important thing to do, to remove yourself from the situation and then get some perspective around it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Sunday, I'm really, Sunday is a family day for me. Like people always see in my socials, I'm out at the park or at the beach or we go roller skating. There's always that for us because that's what fills my cup and fills my soul cup, so that I feel balanced and can come back on a Monday. And for example, now school holiday, but I worked really hard to get to this privileged position of it's coming up to school holidays here in Australia, and I will be taking my foot off the gas, and hanging out with my kids for 6 weeks. And that's when I write my books and things like that, is in that time, in that mindset. So that's always a special time every year, the 6 weeks around Christmas. And busy, it's a busy time because but there's a beautiful balance that works for us all. We have a big backyard and I have an outdoor writing area. So, and I have the team that's here to keep things going. And, so it's really good. But I've worked hard, and that was an intention, to get to a place where that can all happen.
Yeah, I love that so much. That was one of the things I wanted to talk to you about. You have 6 children. You have this incredibly. How do you?
I always get asked that question. How do I manage it all? When I started publishing, I had 4 children. And
How are you doing this? It's
yeah,
amazing.
I just go with it. I think because I enjoy it, and I just work in my time. I don't do 9 to 5s. Like I'm in my office now hanging out, but like you see the coffee shop right outside, we go out there and, so I work on my time. If like I work in US time zones, UK and Australia. So if I've had UK calls, then I'll take a few hours off during the day and things like that. I just find the balance, and I'm very aware that, that's of myself and what I need to do. So having that connection to self and making sure that I'm happy, because whenever I'm keeping that balance for me, not because I always talk about, when we're in business, we're not here to sacrifice ourselves to others. We're to show up for ourselves first, and then we can serve others best with the best of ourselves, and that goes with motherhood as well. So I am not saying that morning time in our house this morning wasn't chaos. It's absolute chaos trying to get 5 kids out of school. It's insane. But you know what? It's my insane, and I love it. And it's not forever, and we just roll with it. It's just it works, and it happens every day. So I'm very adaptable, and I make it work for me. What is my perfect life? What I love and do right now is somebody else's nightmare. They would like, no, I could never have 6 children. I would never have all those businesses. I would never. But I do, and I love it, and it was my choice. So just know what that is for you, and never want somebody else's dream. Have your own dream and make that happen for you. It really and truly.
Yeah, I love that. I love that so much. And I love that you've now created a business that allows you to have that time with the kids in the school holidays, where you can be writing and they're with you, and you have that time, and you can trust your team to be running the business for you.
And I'll just share something, and Dylan might come over here. Dylan, he's like, Mom. He's my 24-year-old. He's my office manager. Dylan.
Hi, Dylan.
Yeah.
Hello.
Eldest son, he can't hear you. So that's peace, Dylan.
Oh, great to meet you. I've heard a lot about you. Oh,
it's lovely to meet you, Dylan.
So we've actually grown to a space where my son now is my office manager. He's got the organized side of the brain that I never had. So it's like, I'm creative and stuff, and he's the organizer and keeps everybody happy. So he's so good.
Fantastic. Bye, Dylan.
When Dylan was born, I was ambitious, and I was working in a factory in Ireland, but I was doing shift work, and I would have to lift him out of bed early in the morning, bring him out to my mum's. And in Ireland, it's cold in the morning. Lift him out, bring him out to my mum's, and he would get the school bus from there. And I wasn't there, and I missed so many things. And like in Ireland, you went back to work 6 weeks after you had your child. And I was quite young when I had him. I was 19. But it was just the norm. It's what you did. And then when I started, because Dylan's my eldest is 24, and then my next is 14. I went back to, but I then whenever I humanities and all of the things that I did in those 10 years as well, I just was like, this isn't how I want to do it this time. I don't want to miss things. I want to be there. I want to be very present and to not miss so much this time. So that was my choice, and that's my values, and I won't compromise on that, and I don't compromise on it. Everything works around that. And I get to scale my businesses too, please. So, I don't have to compromise my business either. So it works.
And I love that. That's what being an entrepreneur is about. It's about creating the life that you want to live. It doesn't have to be the same as anyone else. You can do it your own way, what works for you and your family. And that's just beautiful. And it does take time. It takes years to get to that where you actually are bringing in the money and working the hours that you want to. It can take time, but it's so worthwhile.
It wasn't planned that Dylan would be my office manager, but that was how it happened. And he's the perfect person for the job, and he's, the family business and things like that. But that wasn't an intention. That just happened, that we embraced, and it's ended up being he's one of my greatest assets. So it's amazing how it happened, and it just being open to it. So yeah.
Fantastic. Well, now I'm just wondering if anyone else has a question for Karen. If you do, just unmute and come and jump in. Christy, have you got a question for Karen?
Yeah, I guess I'm curious how you got the courage, Karen, to approach the Duchess's people of all people, really, to get and I guess the best part about it is that they did sign on with you, and her books are amazing. How did you go about that?
Oh, I love telling this story. So this is the question I get asked a lot, Christy. So, and it was through the Ausmum network as well. Everything, always seeds are planted in the Ausmum network. So I got to know Fee Bendel through there, and one night I happened to be on Facebook. I don't know why, but I just was on Facebook, and a video popped up on Fee Bendel's page, and it was the Duchess was there, and she was doing a presentation, and she was standing on a chair, and she was talking to all these entrepreneurs. And my thought process, and this is how I work knowing, so please take the lessons out of this. My thought process was, there's the Duchess of York. I loved her when I was growing up. My son loved Budgie, the little helicopter, when he was growing up, and watching that. Oh, she does children's books. I wonder what she like to do a children's book for Serenity Press. So that was my thought process. So I had the inspired thought, and then I had, wow, that would really bring Serenity Press and put it on the map if we signed the Duchess of York. So that was the thinking part of it. So I took the action, and I went and Googled who her agent was, and I must have written the most magnificent email. I can't find it anywhere. It's somewhere in my archive. But whatever email I wrote, I sent, and I got a call from the Duchess's office, not even the agent. It actually got through to the Duchess's office, and they connected with me and said, "Oh, Karen, what do you have planned, or what would you like? What's your vision for this to happen?" And I didn't have a vision. I was just putting it out there to see if it was a possibility, and then I would, act on it. And so I did. I put together a proposal. I said, I showed up, and even whenever I was uncertain, I still showed up, and was very well-intentioned with all of my actions, as were they, and it ended up to be one of the best things I ever did. But it was just that inspired thought, Kirsty. That's what it was, and I acted on it. So when you learn to do that, and it's asking, ask and you will receive.
Yep. No,
and that's the
perfect.
story in a nutshell. The rest is
Well
history. Yeah, thank you. So fun.
Karen, on that note, have you shared your Oprah story today? I'd love you to share that with everyone about how you made that happen.
Yeah, I've had a few brushes with Oprah, actually, and she's on my bucket list to be sitting down talking about my Life Magic series, which will happen when it's time. It's not time yet. But yes, it's a bit funny. My Oprah story back in 2016, I think it was, we heard that Oprah was coming to Australia, and I was like, oh, Oprah does the book club. I'd love to get some of her books to Oprah. And so I didn't, a lot of people go through celebrity gifting and stuff, and I didn't know about celebrity gifting at the time. So I just put out on my Facebook page, Oprah's coming to the Perth Arena. Does anybody know somebody who works in Perth Arena? Because I'd love to give her a gift basket of books. And somebody on my network said, well, I know somebody who works in Perth Arena. Let me connect you with them. So I connected with them. They were like, oh, we can't do that. She has her people who organized all that, the event coordinators. But this is who the event coordinators are. So connect with them, and you never know. So I connected with them. Must have been at the most divine timing. Because I connected with them, I rang them, and he said, send me an email of what you want, what you're proposing, and because they knew that she loved books, and I was like, this is what we propose. And they said, okay, bring a gift basket to Perth Arena office on this day at this time. Now, this day at this time, I was just finished a Christmas pageant for our little play group that I was running. And so I actually arrived at Perth Arena with a gift basket for Oprah, with my 1-year-old and a 3-year-old, dressed as an elf. I didn't have time. I had to get there straight away after, because as again, I don't compromise when it comes to family things, and it was really funny. But I showed up, and we went to the Perth Arena that evening, and she was talking about the gratitude journal, and there was gratitude journal in the book, and Peace and Katie's book was in there as well. So yeah, there's been a few instances. Was there another one you were talking about, Peace, or was that the one?
That was the one where you turned up in your elf outfit with your basket for Oprah. But yeah, the magic of, you reached out and you asked, and they said no, but then they said you could try this, and you kept going. And even though, it was difficult, it was the day of the pageant that you had to drop the basket in, like, you just were able to make it happen.
It was the same with the Duchess call. Like, when they wanted to call and talk to me, their office, I was on holidays down in Bunbury with my 5 children on my own, because my husband was working. So I was down on my own in Bunbury. And if anyone has a Mary, I have a Mary. She's a little tornado, and you can't do calls when Mary's around. So my whole day that day was organized around Mary being asleep at 5 p.m., which was the time of the call. 4 p.m. I got an email saying, hi Karen, could we do the call 45 minutes earlier? And I was like, oh no. And I went, yes, sure, no problem. So I didn't have any adults to watch the kids, so I had to just let Mary run around my feet. And I done the call, and I said, hi, I'm sorry, I'm on holidays with my children, but so any background noise, please just ignore it. And they did, and they laughed, and it actually helped to deepen the connection, because they knew that I would show up at even the most inconvenient times for them. And so it actually was a bonus rather than, and I didn't stress about it, because sometimes I used to stress when I was trying to do something, and the kids were, but what's the point? You may as well just let them sit in your lap, twirl with your hair or whatever, and just show up on the other end of the phone.
Yeah, I think so. And I think times are changing as well. I think there was a time where it was very unprofessional to, have kids' voices in the background, or to ever let anybody think that you would be working while your children were nearby. And I think that times have changed this was just, we started our business 10 years ago. And I think today things are very different now. It's quite normal for people to be on Zoom and their kids be sitting on their lap with them, or be there with them. And I think that has changed too. Do you think so? Yeah.
It's wonderful. Like, my kids, I was breastfeeding kids. I was breastfeeding my 4-week-old when I wrote my first novel, this time 10 years ago, so one hand or whatever. But kids learn. They learn from what you're doing just by being around you. And, like I homeschool my 14-year-old. He's with me all the time, but every time we get the assessment from the homeschool people, they're like, wow, he just learned so much just being with you and things like that. So, they're learning coping, they're learning skills that, and you think that you're taking away from them, but you're not. You're actually adding to them, and helping them realize that if you work hard enough, you can have anything that you want. So that's it. And because I work, they get nice treats as well, so, there's either a reward there for that. And, we don't compromise on holidays and stuff. They always have their time.
Yeah. And it's about showing them what's possible too. What their dreams are possible, and the things that they want to do, they can achieve that. And they see that firsthand because it's happened for you. I think it's really valuable for kids to be experiencing that. I Absolutely.
One of the funny things for my kids, and I'm just laughing when I think of it, they get to see the actual physical happy dances when those winds come in, you know, when you're doing I actually do an actual physical happy dance, and they're just like, what, Mom, what? What did, what did we get? And I'm like, and they're like, oh, okay. It wasn't, a big chocolate surprise or something. It was, their priorities are different than mine, but they get to see that, there is, whenever that happens, how it can elate you and, your hard work pays off.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And it's fun.
Wonderful. So, Karen, you've had your publishing business for a long time now, and you've worked with lots of authors. How many authors would you have worked with over this time?
I haven't counted, but it's well over 300. So that's, and I don't just book in hand and gone. I'm on the journey for a long time. So it's a privilege to be part of somebody's book journey. It really and truly is, because it's an evolutionary process. It's a lot of self-development. And as I say, my studies are in humanities. But when you have the courage to write a book, and even if it's a business book, it's still part of you. Even if it's a children's book, you're creating a connection with somebody else. There's nothing like my kids sitting on my lap and me reading them a story. That heart connection with them and them reading the story, and that's why books are so important to me, because books and stories connect. And whether it's an audio book or an ebook or a flip book that we do now with audio over it, or a printed book. Now, I'm a printed book person, but there's nothing like, because when somebody's reading your book, you have their full attention. And in this day and age of distraction, that is like gold, because when somebody's actually sitting and reading your words, like in Back Yourself, when somebody's reading your story in Back Yourself, you have their full attention. You're going to shift, and when it connects with somebody, it's going to shift their life, and they're not going to be the same person they were before. You've evolved them a bit, because you've had the courage to show up and share your story. And there's a lot of those moments in this book. Because people have been really generous with what they've shared in their knowledge, and that's also going to, it's a business book with heart, absolutely. And that's what with female business owners, this is the book we needed when we were starting out, Peace, isn't it?
We needed this book. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's incredible. And you're right, when you're reading, you have the complete attention of the book. You can't read a book and watch TV. It doesn't work. And so, yeah, you have their full attention. And I'm so excited for this book to be out in the world and for people to be reading it and hearing all of these stories, these incredible stories from these women, and all of the advice and the practical strategies that they use in their business to get them to where they are today.
Absolutely. And every one of these stories in the book, will leverage and bring someone to that business, because people are getting to know the author. You're getting to know the business behind the person who's sharing that story. So the way you have the 100-point system, you are wrapping up those points, because people are getting to know you through your words. They get to know you because we're connected to your story, and the honesty and integrity in this book is just so high level.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So Karen, you've written lots of books yourself as well. So you brought one out recently, The Power of Knowing. And then you've got one coming out soon, The Miracle of Intention.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yes. So these are part of my principal series piece. So I get asked all the time, how do you do life, Karen? And so so I write a lot of books. Like, I first started out writing fiction and novels, and there's a series of 3 fiction and novels that I wrote from 10 years ago. But it was writing that novel that led me into publishing, because I had a negative self-publishing experience. It was all just about having the book in my hand, and I had this book in my hand and I spent thousands, and I was like, this wasn't worth it. And it was such a heart-centered story, but I didn't know how to get it out there. There was a message in it that I needed to get out into the world to find the people who needed the message, because it was heart-centered, but I didn't know how to get it out there. So as I'm curious and as I am intuitive, I went and done a little bit of research and discovered that the print and distribution channel my publishers in the US had used had just opened up an office in Melbourne. Talk time and circumstance aligned, and I was like, yay, happy that. So I took the sign and I said, if if I apply to become a publisher with them and I'm accepted, then that's my call into being a publisher and having stories be told, not just my own, but other people's. One of the stories we published was actually from an African man called Pickle in the Dream, and he actually was an orphan himself, but he created it. He actually grew his own orphanage, and then all the proceeds went to the orphanage and things like that. So that was one of the first ever projects we did. And how he found us, because like 8 years ago, the internet wasn't what it is now, it was around, but it wasn't as, as prolific as it is now. That was where the publishing started. Sorry, Pete, I went off track there. What did you ask?
I was your books. Yeah.
So I wrote the fictional novels, then I started doing children's, and I have a lot of books in production. Like Kat Fox, who's an amazing illustrator, she's doing a 26 book alphabet collection for me at the moment. Yeah,
Amazing.
For Kat, and we love her. She's amazing.
Kat is the one that illustrated my colouring book.
Oh,
yay. Yeah. So she's a graduate of both Ignite and Accelerate as well. She's done both of our programs too. And she's an Ausmumpreneur Awards winner. Yes. I love that. She's part of the family.
She is. She's amazing. And she's also doing Serenity Press books for us at the moment as well. She's got 2 of those, so she's a busy bee, but she's amazing. And so she's doing like those 26 alphabet job buddies, and they've been pitched to McDonald's for 2022, and they're interested. My rights manager said there's interest in the translation market, overseas and them and stuff like that. So I'm like happy dancing, and we're getting little plush toys done of them and stuff. So it's really cool and fun. But my Life Magic series is where I share my 7 life principles, which are mindfulness, knowing, intention, gratitude, love, forgiveness, and belief. Those are my 7 life principles, because it was when I started believing in myself and my abilities that everything started to grow. So I'm writing the 7 books. They're all little small books, and I invite people into them. And Peace has written her story in The Miracle of Intent of how you manifested your TED Talk, and it's an amazing story. And I'm so grateful that you're part of it. It's a really cool.
I'm so excited to be part of it. It's wonderful.
And so all of these books together, when they're come together, they're being released individually as they come, but by the end of next year we'll have all 7 of them released. And it's all about how I have my own. If anybody wants to come and join my Life Magic with KP Weaver, because I write under Weaver, because McDermott is my publishing hat, Weaver is my writing hat. So we do gratitude every day in there, and I come in and I share some of my life principles and philosophies and things like that in there, and we just are like a nice little community. And so these books will all be out, and then it's whenever they're all done, that's when I'll be on talking to Oprah about them. We'll be then.
There'll be some happy dancing then. So Karen, you've written 3 of them.
Yes.
Magic, knowing,
and intention.
So you've got to write 4 more books between now and the end of next year?
Yes. And so I found a little hack that works for me for these books. Because I speak a lot, and how I write these books is what I speak to people. And they're only 30,000 words each, so they're not full-length novels. And I've got a bit of a structure. So the framework is the same for each book. So it's just the content. The content is in here. So what I do is I get my phone. If I speak for 10 minutes, then that's around 1,500 words, and that's usually a chapter in each one under the framework. So I do that consistently for each chapter, and I always share an experience that's relevant to that part. And I noticed Elizabeth Gilbert does it in Big Magic. It's kind of that kind of format that each chapter is like a standalone, but you learn the essence. I'm doing the law of love right now, and so that's and did you know that the law of love was, before the law of attraction was called the law of attraction, it was called the law of love, because love is the highest vibration of all, and so it used to be called. So I talk about all of that and how I live and make things happen through loving intention.
Beautiful. Well, I can't wait for those, for the Law of Love to come out. That'll be your next one.
Yeah.
That'll come out first, is that right? Yep.
Yeah, the next one is scheduled
Yeah.
at the end of January, so better get my dates on. But I will write a lot in school holidays because that's our happy zone. We do something in the mornings together as a family. I write throughout the day. The kids hang out together. That's the wonderful thing about having so many kids. They all have a friend to play with. You know, you don't have to arrange play dates and stuff like that. They're all there together, you know, and they just get on with it and have brilliant imaginations. They write their own little stories and stuff as well. And they love doing school. You know, what is that about? When they're not at school, they like doing school. It's hilarious. So, yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. Well, thank you so much for being here, Karen. We've got Laura's session starting next, so we'll wrap up now. And I think she's broadcasting from a different Zoom link, so head over there. But thank you so much, Karen. It's been wonderful hearing from you today. And thank you to everyone who's joined us on the recording as well.
And you too. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, Karen. Bye.